try here.
bonded over that. And I thought, this is a really like young, intelligent Spitfire. So Cenk, I then invite onto my podcast after Trump gets elected. And this guy went to Wharton Business School. He's not dumb. And I thought, okay, come and tell me all the reasons you don't like Trump, you don't like Elon Musk, you don't like Doge. You'll talk to me, tell me, because I only see it from now, what is a right-wing bubble. And I try to get out of these echo chambers and gain some perspective because I know how dangerous that can be. And he shows up and we have a very honest conversation. And I really appreciated that. That meant a lot to me because you cannot get liberals to show up. You just can't. You cannot get them. I got one other, Kara Swisher. She told me that I was like a bad person and anti-trans the entire time, I was just so grateful she showed up. I was like, that's fine. You can hate on me the entire time. At least you showed up for the conversation.
Right. It's the same talking points, by the way, all the time. They just they hate you. They name call. But anyway, so go on. Okay.
So Patrick Bet-David comes to me and he's like, listen, I'm thinking of doing a version of The View over here, but I want more diversified perspectives. He'd wanted Sage Steele, but she wasn't available. And he put together this list of people, and he hired Lindy, he hired Amy, and he had wanted Sharon Osbourne, and she fell out, and I
fell in.
I got Anna. No, I had the job. I got Anna the job.
Oh.
And she took it from you.
Dude.
You got Anna the job on the Hurt Team? Okay, this is getting... Okay, go on. Okay.
And I fought with PBD over it because he's like, I don't know. And I literally, I could have the text messages and the emails. And I was like, no, you need her. You need like a strong... She went to journalism school. Like, you can't just have opinions. We need journalists here. Like, it's one thing for me to be a host for you, but I got to have actual journalists. And he was very invested in Lindy Lee because she's on Connect, which is a big platform, and she does very well on it. And she's a very intelligent girl. I don't agree with her on a lot of things, but she cannot question the fact that Lindy is she's very intelligent. And her knowledge of history is impressive. So I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense for the panel. And I liked the fact that her and Anna had differing points of view because I thought, well, this will be interesting. We can hear from sort of both of them and get a diverse perspective. Amy, I didn't really quite understand, but she was a Valuetainment employee, and I was like, all right, whatever. Like, who cares? If this is who PBD wants, that's fine. So as time went on, I started to watch this transformation with Anna, and everything was anti-Semitic. Everything. And there were these crazy statements where she would suggest on the podcast that the Jews were responsible for 9/11. And then I'm getting all these videos sent to me.
I believe she said Israel. I think she said Israel was like involved or had prior knowledge. I don't think she said the Jews. I know she didn't, as a matter of fact.
Of her saying, my God, what was the one where she's like, you think you're God's chosen people, but you're really demons? And like all of these insane, and like the bulging eyes, the spit, the beet red face. And I'm thinking like, all right, I'm not comfortable being associated with this. I don't want to platform this narrative. And we'd had very honest conversations about her criticisms of the Israeli government. I don't know enough. And that was a huge problem for me because...
And for the viewer.
I thought, if you're going to do this, we need a Coleman Hughes, a Dave Rubin, a Batya Ungar Sargon, a Gad Sad, to provide perspective, because when you say things like they're starving these children, well, then you listen to someone like Coleman or Dave Rubin, they're like, that's not actually true. That's propaganda. I don't have the ability to answer that. I can't.
So she needed to bring a man on the show so that they can like fact check for her, because that's too much work.
Can't defend it. So there were plenty of conversations like that, by the way, where I would just kind of sit there thinking like, is this true? And then I would call somebody afterwards and be like, did this happen? Because this is really distressing. And it was like, well, part of this didn't happen. Anyway, long story short, I started to be very vocal about the fact that I thought that this kind of vitriol belonged on the Young Turks platform. And every single show started to be about bashing Israel. So the one that actually never made it out because Charlie Kirk had been assassinated was one we did with Crystal Ball.
Okay.
And that one was, oh my God.
Oh,
So
thank
at
you,
the
brother.
end of at the end of that show, I had suggested, like, this is going to hurt a lot of people. Like, we cannot, this is not responsible anymore. We don't have a balanced perspective, and we got to rein this in. Cut to, it's the next week. So Charlie has just been assassinated, and the rumor starts circulating that it's Israel again. And I'm just like, all
Here
right,
we go.
Dave Smith says it's not Israel.
Here we go. Let's just knock it out of our head so we can't even think about it. So if it is true, we just never will believe it. So let's just put Israel in a spot where there are no chance that could have happened. There's no possibility in your mind. And that way, whenever you find out it did, you'll just ignore it.
Israel. Nick Fuentes, who is probably the greatest anti-Semite at the moment, said it's not Israel. Tucker Carlson.
She is literally calling an appeal to authority on anti-Semitism. Like, you're a real anti-Semite, so if you say no, it can't be yes. That is bad argumentation in any way. Like that's not a thing. That's a fallacy.
Although I guess he did make the hummus comment, but even like the greatest Israel haters, critics had said it's not Israel, right? There's no evidence to suggest it's Israel. Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone, who was trying to implicate Israel, is known to have taken a ton of money from Iran and Russia.
He was just there.
Does that make him wrong? Does that make what he said wrong? No, it doesn't make him wrong at all. So what's your point?
Everybody knows.
Notice how it's not bad whenever our entire Congress takes shit tons of money from Israel. But if you take like a donation from Qatar, now you're what you say doesn't matter.
That they're completely compromised.
Yeah.
And so I respond to the group. I'm like, this is not responsible. This isn't true.
Yeah.
And they just.
Did you hear any facts following that statement of fact right there? That this isn't true? Did you hear a single statement of fact other than fallacies? I didn't.
Buried this man yesterday. I think it was his pastor has asked people not to do this, not to have these conversations. It's disrespectful.
And so did his wife. So just stop talking about it. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Somebody's been murdered. We're not taking anyone's requests on how we investigate. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care what anyone thinks until we know what really happened. Then we'll fucking have a little compassion after that. But that's not how investigations work. Like I have seen it. I was a police officer for 15 years. That is not how investigations work. You are a suspect until cleared.
So the answer back is, yeah, we know it's not true, but everybody's talking about it. So, we should. And I said, if you guys do this, I'm going to be really aggressive about the fact that this is not true. And they're like, no, we're going to present it that way. Don't worry. So of course we get out there and all three of them actually accept Anna. That's what's so crazy. Amy and Lindy tried to actually make the case that it was Israel. Lindy's trying to give credibility to Max Blumenthal, which I was because Lindy, by the way, behind the scenes is messaging me being like, Anna's losing it. Anna, this is crazy. We got to calm this down. So when Lindy all of a sudden tried to make that case,
they started to bring up the fact that Charlie had changed his stance in recent days and even made a statement that he thinks Israel is going to kill him over it. So that's what they were bringing up. And she got her laptop and ran off set. That's what happened. I reviewed it like last week sometime. Oh, shit.
Lindy, by the way, behind the scenes is messaging me being like, Anna's losing it. Anna, this is crazy. We got to calm this down. So when Lindy all of a sudden tried to make that case, I was so pissed because I'm thinking, you've been asking me to get a grip of this situation. And here we are. You're now trying to make the case.
Wow.
How dare you bring up evidence? We're trying to clear Israel. We're not trying to bring up things that make them look bad. That's how apologists think.
Amy is then like, well, Candace. I'm like, what is your evidence, Amy? And she's like, Candace Owens. And
okay, yeah.
I know. Oh my God. What is happening?
I know.
What is happening? And then Anna.
Notice how every time she tries to make a point, there's fake laughter.
Anna, to her credit, goes, yeah, no, it's not true. There's no evidence. However, and then launches into another attack on Israel and Netanyahu. And it was just because there was nothing, nothing relevant about what we were. And at that moment, I just was like, I can't do that. I can't be a part of this.
Right. If you can't refute all the shit they're saying about your favorite country, you just grab your laptop and run away.
This is wrong. It's just,
that's why women don't deserve as much pay as men, because they run away with their laptop whenever they get beat.
Not okay. You're going to get people killed. Like, you can't do this. This is insane. I just watched a video. I'll give you an example for anybody who thinks this is hyperbole. I just watched a video of a guy, maybe you've seen this actually, on college campuses trying to raise money from students. And his pitch to them is that we have to go after the Jews where they live because they've grown out of control. And he's like, we've got missiles and suicide bombs. He's like, but we need bullets and we need handguns, and we want to hit them, at the temple, the school bus, the community center. And these kids are they're like, I'll give you $10. I will send you the video to insert it if you want. I will send it to you. I actually bookmarked it.
Wow.
And I thought, like, this is.
And I thought there's no way this could be Israeli propaganda video right here. There's no way that anyone could be doing something that there's not expressly what you're seeing in the video, right? There's no way. She believes every false flag and every psyop, I'll bet you.
What's happening is people truly believe that Israel is the root of all evil. And again,
I have a buddy who told me he saw a video where they pulled out the Muslim children's coloring books and it's all just blowing people up. It's all just killing America and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I don't even think they have coloring books over there. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. They don't do any kind of research. They just see it, believe it, and move on. Right? That's how false flags are so dangerous. That's why we have to be aware and always looking for false flags, because you never know when one's coming.
I am certainly not an expert on this subject matter. However, every time I follow one of these leads, like, wow, AIPAC gave all of this money, and you're like, okay, well, how much money was it? Oh, it's a couple $2 billion. Like, well, that's bad. I certainly don't want them influencing our government. Then you come to find out that Qatar gave $23 billion and Saudi Arabia gave $100 billion, and the UAE gave $32 billion. And then it just, every time I follow.
Do any of those places get the entirety of our Congress to go take like group pictures in their bingo halls? No. Israel has control. None of them are getting us to fight their wars for them, are they? Which one did Qatar get us to go to war? I didn't see it. My news feed must be messed up.
Layer of outrage. Somebody else is doing it at an exponentially greater rate.
Right. And you just had Megyn Kelly come out and she's talking about something that has totally been debunked about $7,000 for every post and foreign influence. I'm like, okay, Megyn, if we're going to talk about foreign influence here, let's talk about the Qataris. Let's talk about CCP. Tucker Carlson.
She needs them just for fact checks, nothing else.
And just came out with a video now. I mean, he's throwing a tantrum because, the mullahs have been taken out. He's accusing Chabad, which puts a target on Jews' backs. I want to say something. I want to thank you for having integrity. You keep saying, I don't know. You know enough as a human.
I wish they took that much care into other countries, like whenever they did everything. Like, they only care how things influence Israel. That's the only thing that matters. Do you ever think of how it influences Iran when you kill their children? They're all in an all-girls school? Nah, they don't matter.
Human being, like, this isn't right. This is hypocrisy, okay? Obviously, Israel is to blame for my toilet not working right now, okay? Israel is to blame for, it's like literally Israel is to blame.
I'll give you an example.
Another fake laugh. What is she laughing at?
Of what I don't know, what I mean by I don't know.
No.
So somebody will come to me and say,
Jillian is the reason I gave up on trying to find a woman, because this is what they get like whenever they get that age, and that's the age I would date at. I'd rather go through this alone.
Listen, the New York Times printed that Netanyahu and the IDF knew about October.
I thought you were talking about Jillian's breath when I first started reading.
For 7th, and they let it happen so they could go in. Now, if that happened and it's in the New York Times, that's obviously deeply upsetting. I don't know. What I do know is October 7th was deeply upsetting. What I do know is that you have a host of other foreign governments that are outspending Israel at an exceptional pace. What I do know is that you're furious about the blockade, but you're not furious about the fact that Egypt drowned Palestinians trying to escape in sewage in the tunnels. Why are you not mad about that? That's the part that I start to go, this is not an honest conversation. Because again, they're like, look what they did at the border. And you're like, well, why are you not mad about what Egypt did to them then?
Have you?
I've got a solution for all this. How about we just get the fuck out of the Middle East and let them do whatever they want to do? How about that? And we just worry about keeping America safe. And then if they do bad things over there, well, that's just bad shit over there. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with us, does it? We can't fix the world. We're not here to bring feminism to all the countries with sand in them.
Seen Egypt's border. It's the most fortified in the world. So ever since October 7th, I've spent literally the last couple of years debunking these stories.
I know.
So that's how like my social media went crazy, because nobody, people weren't really doing it. And so I was like, okay, so here's a narrative that's out. Here's the truth. And honestly, it was just so overwhelming, by the way. Like, it's exactly what's happening in Iran right now. But I want to quickly go back to Anna Kasparian. You have so much integrity. You're literally there and you're like, I'm out of here.
Assertion. Prove that.
I'm done. Why do you think that, she has this obsession with Islamists and now she's, doing this to Iranian women?
I know. Honestly, I don't know. I continue to watch like the video that she just did with Piers, because of course 10 different people sent it to me. And Piers is like, 30,000 Iranians have been killed. And she's like, you don't even know that's true. And he's like, well, it's kind of like widely accepted that that's the number. Oh, please, Piers. It's probably like 3,000. And I just thought, even if it's 30, but like, okay, Anna, you know that the regime is raping.
Can you imagine talking to someone like this when you're just like, hey, what do you want for dinner? Oh my God, I'll kill myself. I could not. There is no way I could have one of these in my house.
Murdering, torturing, slaughtering for decades. So, like, what are you doing? I don't know. And then you have Iranian women saying, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I think she's talking about the two clowns we just saw on the panel. That's the Iranian women she's talking about. Goldie and Elika. That's who she's talking about. She's counting them as Iranian women. One hasn't been in Iran in decades, and the other one isn't even Iranian, I don't think.
And
do you think that the women in Iran are wanting you to shut up so they keep dropping bombs? Is that what you think they want? Because feminism's so important to them? Okay.
Level of, I don't know if it's narcissism. I don't know if it's just a complete ideological capture.
Women love to call everything narcissistic. So I figured it would come to that.
I don't know if it's a paycheck. Part of me is starting to think a lot of this is a paycheck, because the problem is when you watch pundit.
She is trying to say that the anti-Israel side is the one getting the paychecks. That's nerve.
Like Tucker, for example, there are now numerous videos circulating of him saying one thing.
Have you heard about these tours that go to Turkey where they try and, brainwash you into thinking that they should rule the world? I've heard of Hasbara. There's even a name for it.
And then, flipping and saying the exact same thing. Like, there's a video of him saying, we've got to deal with Iran. Iran is a huge problem. Somebody needs to have the balls to deal with this properly. To now being like, Iran not a problem.
It's a totally different person.